Hey guys, it's me back again with another video. This time it's not a reaction, it's actually a review, and it's for the Korean drama Stranger from 2017. This show actually got a second season. I don't know really when they announced that, but before I started watching this, I already knew of the fact that there is a second season, or rather that the second season will get released in December, so in about 5 months. I think it's the end of December. I think actually the 31st, like a Sylvester. So, um, yeah, it's actually more than 5 months. It's more like 6 months. But anyways, yeah, this is a Netflix original show, and I watched this like the past week, and I'm very happy with this. Yeah, I gave this an 8.5 out of 10 rating, meaning that I wasn't really like completely sold on it. Like it's not a masterpiece for me, but it has so much good elements and so much potential that I think it could have been a masterpiece. And for me, masterpieces are only 10 out of 10. Like 9.5 for me is not a masterpiece. So if I'm saying masterpiece, I mean 10 out of 10. And I mean like almost everything has to be perfect about the show, or certain elements have to be more than perfect, like groundbreaking, um, like to kind of compensate for other areas not being perfect. But yeah, this for me had a lot of potential of becoming a masterpiece, but in my opinion, they kind of like lost the potential at some point and just didn't focus on what they should have. But let's start from the beginning, kind of. This show is definitely a crime show. It has a lot of intriguing plots, a lot of intriguing characters. It's kind of like the equivalent to Game of Thrones intrigue, um, but in Korea. Like it has so many different families and like character groups, and I don't know, just characters at all that are involved in the story and are very much like main or key points at some point of the story. Like there's so many supporting characters. Let's see, for example, like probably everyone, but for example, supporting characters that are present at one point in the story and are very important. I can list them down here, but yeah, Lee Chang Jun, Seo So no, what's the pronunciation again? I think So Dong Jae, Jong Yong Un So, Lee Jun Bom, Yang Ij. Like I think there are at least like I think at least 6 or 7 side characters that are almost as important as the main character at some point in the story. And I mean, especially Chang-jun is kind of the third main character. But anyways, they are doing such a good job with the story, with the writing, with the directing of the show. Not so much with the writing here. I mean, they're still a good job, but I will come to it later why I think that the writing lacked a bit. But I think this is so well done. I think it's the best crime show I ever watched in Korean for sure. Also, the intro to the show already, like the small 60 to 90 second opening intro, I don't know what you call it, kind of. It already reminded me really, really strongly of Sherlock Holmes, the TV show, not the movies, like with Benedict Cumberbatch in the in the main role, and it's kind of the Korean equivalent to Sherlock Holmes here, in my opinion. It's very very cool. It's definitely like there's no Sherlock Holmes. There's not no one like 500 IQ and stuff like that. But Fang Shimok is like the main character, and she is kind of similar in terms of like characteristics to Sherlock Holmes. And also there's kind of a Watson with the police officer Han Yo Jin here. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on, and the story is so complex. Like you have to like be very very concentrated when you watch this, because if not, you're missing a lot of stuff, and you will get confused sooner or later. Like even if you're concentrated all the time and you like I guess even if you write down stuff and make notes, you would get confused. So this show is so confusing and crazy that it's almost too much. Like it's very slim margin to um, crossing the border of being too much in terms of complexity. And at some point, at some point it kind of crossed the border. Like let's say at around episode 12 or something like that, 10 to 12, there was a few episodes, like 2 or 3 episodes in a row, where they kind of crossed the border of it being way too complex and like it was crazy. Like I don't want to go into much detail and spoil you guys anything, but it was crazy. And um, yeah, to be honest, I really like the story, and I don't know what else they could have done better. It was so good that I can't complain about it. It's almost a 10 out of 10 out of me for me. There was like 1 or 2 small things that I didn't like, but it was very well done. So why does this not have like a 9 or 9.5 score from me? That's because, in my opinion, even though the acting was very good, and even though the characters were also very good and complex and had deep story and a lot of story, and there were many characters that had it, I think they lost potential in focusing more on the relationships between characters. I think every character kind of had its own story and kind of dealt with the story himself or herself. Like none of the characters really supported each other aside from like a small period of time where there was a special investigation unit and they kind of came close with each other, but right before they kind of like trusted each other and told each other more stories about themselves, they just disbanded again. And I think the show itself, or maybe the writing here, lacked a bit and just threw away the potential it had, because especially like the relationship between the two main characters, Hwang Shimok and Han Yo Jin, just was so there was so much potential. These characters are so good. Like also the acting was very well done, especially by the two main characters. But there was so much potential, and they just did not do anything with it. Like there were small hints and like cool side bits, and I don't know, some cool stuff about the relationship they introduced, but definitely not enough. Like way too less information about the relationship. Not enough like confrontation between them. It was all kind of about the story. Like every character had a good own story, but the writers or director only used the character story to support the main story plot of the show even more. They didn't really focus on the characters that much. Like they were always on the surface. They always like told the stories about the characters and kind of gave you hints to stuff behind their like why they did it, behind their reasoning, but they didn't go into much detail, and I really dislike that because in my opinion that's lost potential, and they could have done way better with like 20 or 30 minutes more, maybe 40 minutes more in the whole show. They should just go into much more detail in some like talks the characters have. There were so many meetings and talks many characters had between themselves privately that there should have been more development in terms of like human relationship. That's what I'm missing here. And my hope is that the second season that comes out in 5 to 6 months will have more of that, what I hope for, and just will focus more on the human relationship between the characters and yeah, just in the world this is playing. Because in my opinion, that's like the one thing that is missing from this universe and this story. I think there will be way more story to unfold, like in terms of main story plot in second season. Of course there will be, because if not, then it's boring too. But I think the character development between each other and just the human relationship aspect has to be dealt with way more. If not, I think this is kind of a disappointment, because this easily could be one of the best shows ever, and in my opinion, it really isn't. Just because of these small things, and it really saddens me because I really enjoyed this show, and I kinda, since like after a few episodes, I kind of started to wish that there will be more human relationship aspects and just development between each other, and it never really happened. Like, there were a few moments where I thought, oh, maybe now, but it never really happened, and they kind of just ended the first season. And let me say, if you don't know that there is a second season, or maybe it wasn't announced at the point where you saw the show, then you will be very disappointed with how the show ended, because it's kind of an open end and you didn't get at all what you wished for. And yeah, that's really not good. So I just hope that they already planned to do that in the second season, and that's the reason why they didn't do it in the first season that much. It's kind of like only the introduction to the characters the first season. If that's the case, then great job, and I will probably bump this up to a 9 at least, and give the second season a way higher rating, because they finally addressed what I wished for. But for now, I really am not that happy about it, and it's not like I dislike this show, but I'm just frustrated that they didn't address this aspect more, because they could have, and they just chose to not do it. They had all the like right elements and ingredients to do it, but they just said, no, we don't do it. So yes, basically everything I can say about this. You will definitely enjoy this show. Like, it's if you like more darker shows or more realistic shows, and also like crime stuff or like very complex stories, then you will definitely like this show. And there's very good acting, like, from everyone involved. There will be so much plot twists. Like, there's probably more than 10 major plot twists in the show, and I can't remember any other show other than maybe Game of Thrones who did this. Yeah, you will definitely enjoy the show if you're like slightly interested into these aspects, and you should definitely watch this as well. It's a great show, and there will be a second season in a few months, so maybe like watch this in 3 or 4 months, like 1 or 2 months maybe before the next season will come out. I'm guessing that it will be on Netflix as well, the second season, and that maybe because this show didn't like get published on one day, like many Netflix shows do it these days. But maybe actually the second season will get published on one day, because it only shows the starting date for now. So I don't know if it will or not, but there's a slight chance that maybe all 16 episodes will get published on one day. So yeah, that would mean that you can watch the second season at the end of the year. So you won't have much time to wait for the second season. Yeah, that's about it. I hope you liked this review. I hope you kind of agree or you don't agree. Both are good. Please let me know in the comments, and we can discuss about stuff about the show. And also check out my channel. I do a lot of other stuff, Korean and K-pop related especially. I do a lot of K-pop reactions, but I also do reviews from time to time. I'm planning on like doing a review for every show I watch, so I'm almost always watching a show. Sometimes it takes longer to finish the show, and sometimes it doesn't take that long. Especially I watched Pinocchio recently, and it had 20 episodes, I think, and it only took about 3 days until I was finished with the show, maybe 4 days. For this I took about 10 days, but yeah. I think there are shows that will take even longer, depending on how much time I have and how much things I have to do other than watching a show, and maybe also how good the show is, because I can get actually demotivated to watch a show. I plan on not dropping any shows, so I will still finish them and still make a review out of every show I watch. But if there isn't a review for a long time, you can probably guess that either I have no time and I'm focusing on other stuff, or that the show I currently watch isn't that great or whatever. But yeah, that's about it. Have a nice day, guys. If you like this video, please leave a like. Feel free to subscribe as well. And see you guys next time in the next review or next reaction, depending on you. Goodbye.